Today on Getting Real with the Housewives, Jackie Goldschneider on Margaret and Teresa's possible reconciliation and whether she will be back in Jersey as a full-time housewife.
I mean, to me, it doesn't change the way I act in front of the camera. I've been filming a lot, so to me, it really doesn't matter.
Plus, Erika Jayne has to turn over her $750,000 earrings. Lisa Rinna has receipts in her apology to Denise Richards. And Noella Bergener talks her future on OC. And former Housewives producer and host of Reality with the King podcast, Carlos King, helps us break down this week's episodes while spilling some Housewives tea.
I remember leaving that scene and Teresa called me and she said, "What did you think?" And I said, "Oh, baby, you're going to go down in history of having the most iconic moment in reality television."
We got that plus so much more on today's Getting Real with the Housewives.
Hey guys, Christina Garibaldi here, and I am joined by the king of reality TV himself, Carlos King. Now, Carlos is a former producer on The Real Housewives of Atlanta and the host of Reality with the King podcast. Carlos, I am so excited that you are joining me today.
No, I'm excited to be here. I can't wait to gossip and chat all things reality and housewives.
I love it. So before we get into all of that, please tell everybody all about this podcast.
Sure. So it's called Reality with the King, and you can find it wherever you find your podcast. And the beauty of this is I'm talking all things reality from the opinion, or should I say expert opinion, of someone who has executive produced some of your favorite reality shows, whether that's The Real Housewives of Atlanta, created the Love and Marriage franchise on OWN, did New Jersey Housewives, the list goes on and on. So to have someone like me who's currently still producing be able to talk about all things reality is fun. And we talk about Housewives, The Bachelor, everything under the sun and unscripted.
I love that so much. And I mean, like you said, you are an expert. You know how to pull the curtain behind all those secrets that we want to know about. So what is that one production secret about the Housewives that you can spill, that you're comfortable about spilling?
Well, look, I definitely will say this. The magic between the producer and the housewife is key in order for that individual and the show to be successful. So when you see the housewives be at their best, or, the crazy things happen, always know 9 times out of 10 or 10 times out of 10 is courtesy of the relationship she has with the producer, because that's key. We're sort of like Matthew Knowles to Beyonce.
I love that so much. Who did you produce on Atlanta and Jersey? Who were your the housewives that you were a producer of?
You're going to laugh at this. So, on The Real Housewives of Atlanta, I was responsible for NeNe Leakes.
Love it. That's why I was going to say NeNe.
Yeah, so I had NeNe Leakes on Atlanta. And on The Real Housewives of New Jersey, you're going to laugh again, I had Teresa and Danielle.
I love it.
So I know a little something about, producing iconic women.
And producing, I'm sure, iconic moments, being there for those iconic. What were some of those iconic moments that you were there for that left your jaw on the floor?
Well, number one in the history books is I was responsible and therefore the table flip. Teresa flipping the table.
You were there from day one.
Day one. I'm the one who handed the book to Danielle when she reached underneath the table. So when you guys go and rewatch that moment, you will see Danielle's left arm going underneath the table and pulling out a book. Yeah, that was me.
Oh my God. But I'm sure you had no idea that the table flip was going to happen.
Oh no. But again, it's all about making sure as a producer, you make moments happen that can lead to these unexpected, iconic moments that you did not see coming.
When the table flip happened, were you like, oh my God, Housewives is going to explode. This is going to be the next big thing.
I remember leaving that scene and Teresa called me and she said, "What did you think?" And I said, "Oh, baby, you're going to go down in history of having the most iconic moment in reality television." And she was like, "Are you sure? Are you sure?" And I was like, "Oh, honey, trust me, you are." And she was so surprised that I said that. And then fast forward, she is the icon, the legend, the moment, Teresa.
I mean, it's a moment that we're still talking about to this day. And then how about with NeNe? What were some of those big moments with NeNe?
Oh, honey, there's
so many.
There's so many. I mean, look, from the conversation she had with Greg Leakes, may he rest in peace, season 3, she was screaming at him because he said something about her negatively on a radio interview, and she pulled off her eyelashes in the middle of like having this great moment with him, to, the infamous pillow talk scene where she rented this hotel suite and Kenya walked in and she slammed the door on Kenya, and this big brawl happened between Apollo and Brandon, Kenya's friend. So, me and NeNe are a great pair.
Yes, a great pair. Oh my God, we could talk about this all day long. And I know that you're going to spill a lot of these secrets on your podcast. So I encourage everybody to go and listen. So much fun. But I would love to get your take on some of the Housewives drama that is going on right now. But before we get to all that, we have to talk about some of the comments that we got from last week's show. Debbie says, Phaedra is everything. Love her personality, classy, funny. Are you loving her on Ultimate Girls Trip?
Phaedra is hilarious. I watched all 3 episodes, and I always tell reality stars when I meet them, when they are either auditioning to be on one of my shows or I cast them to be on one of my shows. You don't have to be the loudest person or the most dramatic person in the room to be the moment. And I think Phaedra represents that. She's not involved in the drama, but it's her colorful commentary that makes her the star of the Real Housewives Ultimate Girls Trip. I think she's hilarious. She speaks her mind. My favorite moment is when, which is not, it's not supposed to be funny, but it was funny. It's when Dorinda was walking over to the tree in her backyard, and she's like, "Oh, honey, this is where I go talk to Richard, and Richard this and Richard that." And Phaedra's like, "Who the hell is Richard?"
Yes. So
Love
funny.
it.
Love it so much. Were you there for the auditioning process for New Jersey? Did you help cast?
So I did not help cast. So what was funny is season 1, I was producing the Real Housewives of Atlanta.
Okay.
And then 2 weeks after we wrapped, I went back to New York because I was staying there at the time. And I got a phone call from a mutual friend who was like, "We may be doing a Real Housewives of New Jersey." And I'm like, "What?" And then she sent me the casting tapes. And I was like, oh my. I wasn't responsible for the casting part. So when I saw the Manzos and how a pair of sisters married a pair of brothers, I was like, oh, honey, sign me up.
Sign me up. I love it so much. All right, well, let's get into some Housewives news this week. And we got to talk about Erika Jayne because she lost her legal battle over her $750,000 diamond earrings, which were purchased by her ex-husband, Tom. So according to legal documents obtained by Us Weekly, settlement funds for the trust account created for a class action handled by Thomas's firm, Girardi Keese, were used to pay for the diamond earrings. Messy. A judge shortly after the ruling attended the hearing, and Erika's lawyer said, once again, Erika is facing consequences for past actions taken by Tom and Girardi Keese. Erika did nothing wrong. In fact, the judge specifically found no fault or knowledge on the part of Erika regarding the actions by Tom Girardi and his partners at the law firm. What are your thoughts on this?
I mean, I know Kim Zilzik had a song called The Ring Did Not Mean a Thing, but in this case, the earring means a thing. Look, I am shocked. I got to be honest with you. Look, I may get shade for this, but I got to be honest with you. I don't believe that Erika knew what was going on in terms of Tom's alleged, transactions and illegal activities. I don't think she knew. Now, did she reap the benefits of it? Sure. But it's different between knowing about it and just saying, oh, well, my husband's this big power attorney and he buys me luxury items, a private jet, diamond earrings, diamond rings, all of that. So to know that it was confiscated or going to be, I feel bad for Erika. And listen, guys, yes, let's be very clear. I feel bad for the orphans and for the people who got things stolen. I want to make that very clear. I feel way more compassionate for them because they're the victims here, right? Mm-hmm. But I also feel compassionate for Erika only because it is my belief that she did not know. And I believe she was also a victim of Tom's alleged scams.
I agree with you. I spoke to Erika not so long ago, and she said that she is kind of the face of this whole thing. Like, nobody really is talking too much about Tom and what the law firm did. It's all about what Erika did. And she's like, I mean, like we said, allegedly didn't know, but she is the face of this because she's famous. She's on TV and they're talking about it on Housewives. So she is kind of lumped into all of this. And a lot of the blame has been put on her. Might not be popular opinion as well.
Well, hey, we'll both get shade. All good.
Right, we'll get shade. Well, speaking of Beverly Hills, Lisa Rinna confirmed that she apologized to Denise Richards. She shared the text message saying, Denise, I am deeply sorry for the way I treated you on and around the show. I hope you are doing well, and I wish you and your family nothing but the very best. Denise wrote back, thank you so much for your text. It means a lot. I hope you and your family are doing good. Lisa wasn't going to share the text messages, but she felt that it was important to set the record straight. I was a little disappointed that Denise did not show up to the party. We'll talk a little bit more about that later. But I was surprised to hear that Lisa did reach out to Denise.
Yeah, and listen, I'm happy she did because I'm going to be honest with you again. Mm-hmm. I was disappointed in Lisa Rinna for the way she treated Denise. Look, I'm all for making sure you get the best scenes and the best drama in the moment. Yes, I believe that. What was uncomfortable was the 20-year friendship at stake. Mm-hmm. And it's one thing to come for a newbie, and it's one thing to come for a woman on the Housewives who you don't have a relationship with. Mm-hmm. But I did feel it was too much the way she sort of handled Denise. And I was like, Lisa, this is your best, not your best friend, but your good friend for 20 years. And I was Team Garcelle the whole time in terms of calling Lisa out on this. And then you saw the following season where Lisa did not have that same energy for Erika Jayne.
Right? No, it's so true.
And I was sort of like, look, girl, what's good for the goose is good for the gander. And if you're going to go for your best friend for 20 years, then go for your cast mate of 5 years. Mm-hmm. So I'm happy that she apologized to Denise Richards because she should have. But I was also surprised that Denise Richards allegedly did not respond.
I know. Very interesting. Oh, I wish Denise would come back.
Me too. I loved Wild Things and I love the wild. Listen, again, unpopular opinion. I like Aaron, her husband. Yeah. I like a husband who gets in the women's business. Sorry. I do too.
I don't know if she'll come back, but we'll see. But let's move on and talk about your girl, NeNe Leakes. Of course, it's so sad. Her husband, Greg, died amid his battle with cancer in September of 2021. But she has found a new source of happiness, a new source of light in this new romance. She told Extra, I can't say he hasn't helped me put a smile on my face. You have to be willing to be happy, and you have to make a lot of change within yourself. There has been some drama around this relationship because his ex alleged that he had cheated on her with NeNe. She said at the time, I'm already out here, a husband stealer, and this is too much. And ain't nobody out here stealing husbands. I would never, nobody want to steal anybody's head and steal nobody else's problems. It's so true. But it is nice to see her having this new relationship, and she seems really happy and in love.
I know. Listen, I am still friends with NeNe. We were texting a few weeks ago. And look, if you know Greg Leakes, you would have known that his mission, honestly, was seeing his wife happy by any means necessary. Mm-hmm. And I am of the firm belief that he wanted NeNe to move on and to have a smile on her face. And look, if this guy's doing that, then so be it. I also understand that he may still legally be married, and that's sort of messy. But I think we know, based on watching all these reality shows, that sometimes a divorce can take years to be finalized. So does that mean you have to be single until the ink is dry on the divorce papers? I don't think so. So look, I'm happy she's happy. She looks better than ever. He's a handsome guy. And look, I know the wife may feel embarrassed that your current husband has moved on to this iconic reality star, and she's always photographed and in the news with it. But girl, he don't want you. So you got to move on.
Gotta move on. Speaking of people with messy divorces, OC star Noelle Bergener is talking to Us Weekly about her future on OC. She told us there's so many different variables at play. We already did last season. We already seen what happens with this group. She went on to explain that 30 minutes after she wrapped up the reunion with Heather, Shannon, Gina, Emily, and Jen, she learned that they were out without her. She said it was just like, what a load of bullhickey. And then, of course, like a week later, Heather is on her podcast spitting mistruths and putting her spin on things. She cannot stop talking about me. Would you want to see Noella back? What were your thoughts about OC? I mean, last season they called it a transitional season. I wasn't the biggest fan of last season. It was a bit boring in my opinion. And I don't know, Noelle started out strong and then it just kind of got a little weird.
You're my girl. I agree with you 100%. Look, I watched the OC. I thought the first 2 episodes were super dynamic. It drew me in. I was like, oh my gosh, we're here for this new iteration of OC. And then it started to become the Heather Dubrow show. And listen, I just don't think Heather Dubrow is a leading lady. I think she's great for quick comebacks and reaction shots and things like that. Noella. Heather has this personality where she treats it like it's her show and she's the queen bee. And what was so disappointing watching last season was all the ladies groveled to her. Like they needed her permission to like be on the show. And one thing I did appreciate about Noella was she called out Heather.
Right.
But let's be very clear. Noella has no friends on that show. They don't want to be around her. They're all kissing Heather's ass. Yes, I said it. And if Noella doesn't come back, I'll be sad, only because I thought it was interesting. You had this beautiful young woman challenge. Well, how can I call Heather this? Not a mainstay, but a familiar face.
Yeah, so veteran housewife. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was interesting, but I don't want to watch another season of Gina and Emily and Shannon kissing Heather's ass. I'm bored. I did not watch it after episode 7. I did not watch the reunion. I thought it was the most awful season in the history of the franchise.
I agree with you. Really well. It'll be interesting to see what cast shakeups happen next season.
Bring back Tamara and Vicky, please. Thank you.
Exactly. End of story. Bring back Tamara and Vicky. So moving on to our real talk and some cast shakeups as well. We recently caught up with Jackie Goldschneider, who spoke about those rumors that she is not returning as a full-time housewife of New Jersey. Take a look. There were some rumors going around about the status on the show, if you're a friend of or a full-time housewife. Can you kind of set the record straight on that?
I can't talk too much about it, but I will tell you that Bravo doesn't make any of those decisions yet. Everyone knows there are some new girls testing, but Bravo hasn't made decisions about anyone's status yet. I'm really okay with whatever. I mean, to me, it doesn't change the way I act in front of the camera. I've been filming a lot, so to me, it really doesn't matter. Yeah. But they haven't really, none of those decisions are made yet.
It was interesting. I was going through Instagram last night and I saw in Teresa's stories that she tagged Margaret in a gift that she gave her. I guess Margaret gave her like some bowls that said peace and love. Are they back on track?
I mean, I guess that would indicate so. I mean, you never know. Right. Like it can change day to day. But I will say that Teresa seems very happy and calm.
Yeah. And you've known, because I think the last time we spoke, it was right before the reunion or maybe right after the reunion filmed. And you said that, I don't know if Teresa can ever evolve. Do you feel like she is making progress though?
I do. I mean, I don't see her that often, so I don't know what's for cameras and what's going on behind closed doors. But to me, she seems like a lot calmer of a person. I think that she really wants to be a calmer person. And I don't know if reunion made her realize that. But she does seem happy and calm.
Yeah. Would you be shocked if she and Margaret became friends again?
No, because I think Margaret never liked fighting with Teresa. I don't think Margaret's intent last season was to fight with Teresa. You know, so I don't think either of them liked fighting with the other. I mean, you could almost tell the language that she uses with Margaret was almost like, it was almost passionate fighting. Whereas with me, it was like, we didn't really have like a passion. It was just sort of like, fuck you know?
Yeah, definitely. Did you receive an invitation to the wedding?
Yes, I did.
Yes. Did you receive a new invitation to the wedding after Ramona leaked hers on?
Yes.
Yes. Are you excited? Were you surprised that everybody got an invite?
Yes. I mean, I think that the reason I was invited is because Louis and Evan are actually friends, but you know, whatever, keeps me in the mix. So
Keeps you. Oh yes, no, definitely. Are you looking? Did your opinion of Louis change after this past season and after the reunion?
Yeah, it really did. I mean, last season there were so many like red flags, but I think I don't know. I think that he's a nice guy, and I don't want to judge on things I don't really know. You know, so. Yeah, I mean, he's very nice to me. He's very nice to my husband. So, and he seems to be really good to Teresa. So I don't know. I mean, I don't think about him too much.
How has the dynamic between, if you could tease anything, the dynamic between Melissa and Teresa changed since the reunion? So I think Melissa,
I actually don't really know.
Yeah.
I don't really know because I've only seen them together, you know, obviously at cast events.
Right.
So I can't really tell.
Yeah. Are you still surprised that she's not in the wedding party?
No, I think everybody's over that by now.
What do you think about this? I mean, she came off of a season where she was really honest and open about these struggles that she was dealing with her eating disorder. So I was kind of surprised when I heard that, because Jersey was so good last season. I was really so good. And I was like, why do we need to mess with something that's so good?
You know, if she's not coming back full time, I think it's a loss because I felt that Jersey was having its best season for the past 2 seasons. And it started to become must-see TV.
Yes.
Because Jersey, listen, I produced the first 2 seasons, the best ones. And, you know, Jersey was kind of going through this up and down when they had this weird casting with the twins, and it was weird. But I felt that Jersey found this groove. And look, I know Jackie may not be the fan favorite on Twitter, but we also know that Twitter is not the real world. So I enjoyed that she was honest about her eating disorder, which, I mean, that's not the easiest thing to talk about.
Right.
So the fact that she did it, I mean, I'm not going to cry or anything, but when she had that moment of eating the ice cream. And she was like, you guys don't understand what a big deal it is for me to like take these mouthfuls of this because I'm trying to not count the calories. I thought her transparency was key. And look, to be a housewife, you need to be transparent. So look, I don't think she deserves a demotion that's going to happen. And I just don't think you should do that until you see how the new housewives are, because we're seeing Diana on Beverly Hills and I'm not impressed.
No, I totally agree with you. As somebody that knew Teresa way back in the day, what is it like seeing her transformation and from, you know, season 1 until now? Obviously, she's about to get married again. What is it like kind of seeing her and knowing her on a different level than anybody else of us really do?
You know, so we talked earlier about the casting tape. So obviously I saw Teresa's casting tape and I was like, she's so sweet. She's so bubbly. She's fun. And again, none of us expected Teresa to flip a table because she was like just the sweetest person. So to see this woman I met day 1 emerge as the powerhouse she is, all I can say to you guys is this is what Teresa wanted. She's a hard worker. She works harder than any woman on that show ever did. Her and Danielle, in my opinion, put Jersey on the map. And to see Teresa go through some of the most unfortunate things in life and to emerge with this happiness of finding love after going through a divorce, both of your parents passing within a year or 2 of each other, and to know she had all this heartbreak I'm so happy for my girl. And I really hope that Louis is going to treat her like the queen she is.
I hope so too. I really hope so too. She deserves that happy ending. All right, let's get into our Real Housewives Rewind and start with Atlanta. What do you think about Atlanta this season? We have Marlo finally getting her peach. She by Sheree is back. What do we think about how this group, this dynamic is kind of gelling together so far?
So I thought the premiere episode was a great effort. I gave it a B+ on my podcast. Mm-hmm. And then the other episodes to me were okay. But this most recent episode, Kenya versus Marlo, and then Sheree, Marlo versus Candy, I was like, okay, now it's getting back to what it should be. So I'm still keeping hope alive that this season will manifest to be great, because I do feel like all eyes are on this season, because last season was so terrible that you have to really make sure that this season works. I'm happy that Marlo got a peach. I think Marlo is working her butt off to make sure that her peach does not become impeached. So I'm here for Marlo.
Yeah. What do you think would bring Atlanta back to, like, you know, because obviously Atlanta is one of the most recognized Housewives franchise. A lot of people, it's debatable whether the best Housewives franchise for so many years. What do you think it needs to be back to that level? Because obviously I don't think NeNe is going to be coming back. She's got all the drama going on with Bravo. But I mean, what do you think really needs to happen to this show?
You know, I think for that show, as somebody who worked on it for almost 8 or 9 years, it needs to get back to those women being super invested in telling their real stories.
Yeah.
What made Atlanta Housewives #1 was you got a chance to really see real authentic stories in their personal lives that you weren't seeing on television anywhere else. In addition to that, they were always funny.
Yeah.
It was the comedy. It was the shade. It was like, where do these women come up with these one-liners? It's hilarious. And then you got the big drama, right? So, look, I believe in if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So, look, I'm not into bringing on anyone new. I would like to see some old faces return because it's the organic relationships. And one thing that a lot of fans don't know is when the season ended, when the season ends every season on Atlanta Housewives, those women would hang out off camera and talk to each other. They had a real friendship. So it was meaningful when they had disagreements or disputes, like to see the destruction of Candy and Phaedra's relationship, or Cynthia and NeNe, or Portia and Phaedra. Like, you were invested because they were invested. So when you bring on a new housewife, it takes a couple of years before they really like each other. So I think bringing back old faces could make it work.
I totally agree with you. I think that's what the franchises that work for Housewives are, the people that are actually close and hang out off camera. That's why Jersey is so great. That's why, you know, Atlanta was so great and could get back to that place. But yeah, no, and I feel like that's why OC didn't work last year either, because these ladies just weren't friends. They were just forced to hang out on camera. So, and I mean, and that's why Beverly Hills works too, because these ladies are friends. And, you know, kind of, you brought up Diana before, and this is her first season. And we see she and Sutton having this like really uncomfortable conversation at Garcelle's birthday party. And I kind of agree with Sutton that she was just being mean.
I loved I can't even talk. Sutton.
She's bringing it. She is earning that paycheck.
Oh, my Lord. I'm speechless, and I've been talking this whole time because I'm trying to gather my words to give Sutton the flowers she deserves. She's so delicious in the way she argues with people. And I was talking to my partner last night. We were watching it together. And I said, Sutton represents this upper echelon woman who comes from a certain lifestyle where her shade is so packaged in class that it's so interesting. I've never seen that. I haven't seen that with Lisa Vanderpump. I think she's overhyped. I haven't seen that with Camille Grammer, Camille Meyer. okay, who I love. Sutton has this very old school, deep South way of throwing shade, and literally my mouth was open for that entire exchange. And listen, I'll give Diana her props. She definitely held her own and threw it back at her. And let me tell you something. I can watch 42 minutes of Diana versus Sutton.
Yes, bring it on. No, you're so right. It is the way, it's the delivery, how she speaks very slowly, and just be like, no, you're being mean.
Yes,
to me.
Let me finish. Put the mouse away. I'm like, who says this? I love you, Sutton. Yeah,
I love it. I love it so much. I mean, do you think that Diana... Sutton is everything but boring, what Diana said. She's like, I can't forgive you for being boring. Like, no, she's not boring at all. Like her back must be so heavy from carrying this show for so long.
Exactly. No, Sutton is the opposite of boring. Yeah. Like she's the opposite of it. And I think Diana, listen, let's be very clear here and very honest. Diana watched a few seasons, right? Mm-hmm. So she came in with these preconceived notions of each person. And I think in her mind, Sutton was boring. Sort of like how Sutton told Teddy her first season, like, you're boring and oh gosh, and you're pregnant. It was like, okay, Sutton, you clearly was watching previous seasons. Yeah. So, no, but Diana is wrong. There's nothing boring about Sutton. And Sutton gave her exactly what she deserved. And that was a good old read, honey.
Yes, a good old read. I love it. I'm so excited for this season of Housewives. And we got some new people as well. Sherry, who is Will Smith's ex-wife. She finally made her appearance. Where is Kathy Hilton? We are like 8 episodes into this season. Where is she? But I do like, and Garcelle, who I absolutely love too.
Yeah, she is becoming, so I have this thing where I call Kyle the executive producer of Beverly Hills because she knows how to move the story forward. Yes. And I said this season, Garcelle is the co-executive producer because she's moving story forward too. And then, look, were you like mesmerized when Kyle and Garcelle both interrupted the scene?
That's the first thing I thought of. I'm like co-executive and executive producer just walking in there being like, so girls, what's going on?
What's going on? Let's make sure you guys keep fighting. We need to save this party. We need to save this season and save this scene, honey. And I love it.
I love it so much. Speaking of great television as well, like you said, we're a few episodes into the Ultimate Girls Trip, which I love. I love this group of women. It is fantastic at Bluestone Manor. Brandy just being back on our TV screens, like, oh my God.
I love me some messy, trashy Brandy.
I do too.
She's a producer's dream. She's fantastic. And Brandy knows what she's doing, and I'm here for it.
100% knows what she's doing. And like, I just feel like, I think Andy Cohen said that this was like his dream group of women and he made it come true. And it just reminds you of how great these women were on their respective franchises. And like, I want to see them all back.
Yes. No, listen, I want them all back on their franchise. It's such a great season so far. And I know a lot of people are comparing this season to last season's Ultimate Girls Trip. And listen, I think it's okay that each one feels different. I enjoyed the first one, but I'm really enjoying this one. And I'm going to be honest, I'm laughing more out loud at this current iteration because I think these women are the best of the best and they're hilarious.
They really are. Do you think Dorinda is going to be back on this all-star New York Housewives show?
100%. 100%. In my opinion, I think it'll be Jill, Dorinda, Luann, Ramona, Sonia, and my hope was Bethany, but that's not going to happen.
Yeah, I don't think so. I heard some rumblings, maybe Kelly Ben Simone as well. But
yes.
So maybe Kelly, but
and maybe Tinsley.
Maybe Tinsley. I would love to see Tinsley back.
I love Tinsley.
I know. Oh my God. So it's going to be so great. And I hope they can really find a really great group of women for regular RHONY, because that was a whole disaster too last season.
Yes, it was.
Yes, it was. Before we wrap up, I just wanted to highlight that the New Jersey Housewives are filming this season. They did Dolores's big baseball event. So hopefully we'll get some good TV out of that. And in our interview with Jackie, she said that it seems like Margaret and Teresa may have made up. So big news there.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Look at Teresa being the big person. Okay.
Big person.
I think Louis has something to do with it.
I do too. I definitely do too. Well, Carlos, I sorry, let me do that again. I can stay here all day and talk Housewives with you, but this has been absolutely fantastic. I really appreciate you taking the time.
No, thanks for having me. And if you need me again, you know where to find me.
100%. And I want to remind everybody to listen to your podcast, Reality with the King. Get it wherever you listen to your podcast. It's a must listen. So I really appreciate you taking the time again.
Thank you.
All right, thanks.
Hey everyone, I'm Christina Garibaldi, the host of Us Weekly Celebrity Coverage. Don't forget to hit subscribe for the latest celebrity news, tips, and video. And for much more content, make sure you head on over to usmagazine.com, the official home of Us Weekly magazine.